Hey, what's up guys? Just wanted to take some time today and give you all a little Motivation Monday speech. So this is gonna be kind of story time with my own personal journey, but really just a perspective or mindset that I try to follow, and hopefully it motivates you guys to push a little harder and go a little further in chasing your goals. So for those of you who know me, you know that I've been a longtime fan of fighting. It's been one of my dreams to be a fighter my whole life, but something that I trained on and off at a younger age and then eventually got rid of the idea as I got older. Well, over 2 years ago, my wife talked me back into pursuing my dream, despite all my excuses and reasons I had come up with, whether it be old age, injury, too busy as a self-employed personal trainer, you name it. I finally took that jump and decided to go for it and make that commitment to myself. We started off by going to Thailand for 3 months. I took my family. I knew I was behind the power curve when it came to training years and training technique. Most people out there train a lifetime for this kind of stuff, so I was a little bit behind the power curve and I knew I needed to make up for lost time, so we went out to Thailand. And my goal was to train out there for a few months and then finish with a fight. Well, not to make excuses, but if you look at the fights I've been in so far, I'm now 31 years old, I have 2 fights under my belt. Both fights are losses, and like I said, not to make excuses for my losses, I'm very proud for what I've accomplished in both of those fights, and I'm very proud of what I've proven to myself, but neither of them I was really fully prepared for, in the sense that when I was in Thailand and I had anticipated fighting at the end of my 3 months there, within the first 2 weeks I injured my shoulder. And then a couple weeks after that, I came down with a stomach bug and was in the hospital for 2 days. Severe dehydration, and I had a fight 10 days after that. Now, it seemed like the logical thing to pull out of that fight. It seemed like it would be better if I didn't do it. I shouldn't risk injury, this and that, whatever. But I knew in the back of my mind that I may not get that opportunity again, because my shoulder, I had fractured screws in it. At the time I didn't know, I thought it was a tear, but it was progressively getting worse. So I'm like, you know what, if I don't do this now, I'm not gonna get that feeling or that validation. I'm gonna come here and I'm not gonna leave with that goal that I came out here to, that I had my eyes set on. I'm not gonna be able to achieve that. So I was like, you know what, I gotta fucking do this. I gotta do it in 10 days. It doesn't matter, the turnout, whatever. I'm gonna learn from it, it's gonna be a good experience. So I stepped in that fight, I lost pretty convincingly in the first round. Now, fast forward to coming back to America. When I came back to America, I realized I had to get surgery on my shoulder. I didn't realize that there were screws broken in it when I was in Thailand, but now I know I have to have a reconstruction on my surgery or on my shoulder, and that really threw me off because it was about a 9-month recovery. Well, the surgery was in May of 2019. I was feeling better at about October, November 2019, so I was thinking, okay, come January 1st, maybe I can start preparing for a fight then. And I had picked a fight for April 4th. I was like, you know what, that's before my 31st birthday. I can have 2 fights in before my 31st birthday. I'll set that as my goal. Well, 2 weeks, rewind back to the beginning of January, my coach was like, hey, there's a fight in February, 5 weeks from now. And at the time I was like, okay, you know, I'm barely cleared to start training again. I wanted to give myself 3 months to feel comfortable and feel like I'd put in enough work to hit that April 4th fight, but fuck it. I decided to go for it. Funny thing is 2 weeks before this fight, I came down with the flu, potentially coronavirus. This was like mid-January, later January. I had come down with something, and I found myself in the same situation that I found myself in Thailand. Should I pull out of this fight? Does it make more sense not to go through with this fight? And again, I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I can do this. Like, yeah, there might be some consequences, I may lose, I may risk injury, but at the end of the day, this is my fucking dream. How far am I willing to go? Like, how far am I willing to push my mind and my body to accomplish and achieve that dream of mine? If I keep putting it off due to life circumstances and life happening, I may never get there because it's gonna keep fucking happening. Now, I lost both of those fights. I'm an 0-2 fighter, but looking back on them, there's 2 valid points, 2 very huge, tremendous points I want you guys to take from this that I took from it. The first is gonna be that, and you'll see me preach about this on social media, you'll see me preach about this in my posts all the time, is that failures or losses, there's a lot to gain from them. I lost both of those fights, but had I not taken them and not taken those losses, I'd be 31 years old right now, a little after 2 years of making that commitment to myself to chase my dream, and I wouldn't even be able to call myself a fighter. I've lost those 2 fights, but I can proudly say I've stepped in the ring. I can proudly say that I am walking the walk, I'm walking the talk. I set a goal for myself, my dream, my passion. I said I want to become a fighter, a Muay Thai fighter. I wanted to step in the ring, and I've done that. Despite losing, you know, I'm starting at an older age. Like I said, I'm behind the power curve, so I may never be that Floyd Mayweather superstar undefeated fighter. I've given up that idea a long time ago, but I can proudly say right now that I'm a fighter, and when I finally do fight in my third fight, I'm gonna be much more prepared than had I not taken those 2 losses. Those 2 losses have set me up to be more comfortable and more prepared for the third fight, let's say June or July, if something doesn't come up again. Now, another big point I wanna make is that you're never gonna feel like the time is right. Had I not taken that fight in Thailand, and had I not taken the fight in February, and I waited until April 4th to where my mind told me this is a good time, this is when you're gonna be comfortable, this is when you're gonna be prepared, had I waited for that, guess what? This whole fucking pandemic thing would have gotten in the way and I wouldn't have been able to achieve it. Now, you're not always gonna have a pandemic stopping you from achieving your goals, but if I would have stuck with my original date of April 4th, I'd be sitting here today without a fight under my belt. I'd be sitting here today wondering, can I walk the talk? Can I take the action needed to be a fighter, to be a Muay Thai fighter? Am I cut out for this? Do I belong? Now, I lost the first fight by TKO, I lost the second fight by decision. I was better prepared the second time around. I felt more comfortable. I learned from both of them. You're gonna learn from your failures. Your failures aren't there to tell you you shouldn't be doing this. They're there to tell you you should change something. You should change your approach, your training. You should learn from it. You're not always gonna feel comfortable doing it. You're not always gonna feel like you're ready. But if you sit around and you wait for life's circumstances to allow you to be ready, you're never gonna fucking take that step. So those are my 2 points I wanted to talk to you guys about today, give you all a little motivation, maybe just tell you a little bit about my story in case you didn't know me, you didn't know who I was or know about my story. That's my story. Hopefully it motivates you guys. Get out there, fucking fail, learn from it, take chances, put yourself out there and walk that fucking talk.